Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this month's Author Take the Wheel live interview here on Bookish Road Trip. Today, we are joined by the incredible author who has taken over our Facebook page this week with the theme of friendship. And I know that I'm enjoying her post. I keep commenting on them. It is Annie Cathryn and her book, The Friendship Breakup. Hello, Annie.
Hi, Hope. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be with you this week.
We are so happy to have you here, and we just met a few minutes ago, and I did tell you that your book is one of my favorite books I have read of 2023.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice to hear. I love hearing from readers. It's one of my favorite parts of being an author.
Well, before we get started, I would love to give everyone a little bit about your background by reading your bio. So, first off, Annie Cathryn has always dreamed of becoming an author and lives by the motto, "Creating is living." The Friendship Breakup is her debut book baby, born out of love. When not writing or reading, she's organizing her personal library collection by color and discovering chocolate. She earned her degree in journalism and a master's in communication from Marquette University, and she lives in Chicagoland with her husband, daughter, and two fur babies. Her book has won numerous awards, such as the Book Fest Book Award in the spring, also the Best Midwest Regional Fiction from the Independent Publishers Book Award, and also the 17th Annual National Indie Excellent Book Award. So, again, Annie, congratulations on this book.
Thank you. Thank you. I loved writing it, and I'm so glad it's out there in the world for people to read now.
Well, we already have several people commenting. And if you're commenting on Facebook, sometimes we can't see who we're talking to. So maybe include your name along with the comment. We have hello, ladies, looking forward to this. We have Joanna. Hello to you as well. So tell us, could you give us a little bit of a brief synopsis about the Friendship Breakup for those who haven't had a chance to read it?
Sure. So it's a mom-com, and it's been described as bad moms meet mean girls. And the main character, Fallon, is a married mother of one, and she's looking to do something different with her life, and she loves chocolate. So she's starting a side business with chocolate. And as she's getting her business off the ground, she's realizing that her friends are ghosting her. She's noticed that they're getting together without her, and she is really hurt by this. And she has no idea why they're not including her or not responding to her. So instead of waiting to get invited to the next outing that they go to, which she doesn't think she will be invited, she decides to throw a party and win them back. But then when she throws this party, she makes everything worse. It's a disaster. And she's hit rock bottom. But she's found a letter from her past that she thought she had lost. And as she's reading this letter, she realizes that she has to deal with what's in this letter so that she can move forward and fix her life.
Again, this is such an interesting concept. First off, before we even get started, let's talk about this genre,
Yeah.
mom com, or what is it? Is this a new genre?
So that's funny because when I wrote the book, I didn't think I wanted it to be funny, but you never know how the reader's going to take it. And then when I got my agent and we were going to go on submission to publishers, she called it a mom com, and I was like, "What?" And I was like, that is awesome. I love it." And I thought she made it up. I was like, "Wow, she's genius." But then I did a Google search just to see, and it is a genre. And I think it's great because, it plays off the whole rom-com, which is very popular. And then just to have a genre devoted to mothers, that it's a comedic aspect to the writing and the story. And I always say it's better to take like motherhood situations and find the humor in them.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we would be crying all day long.
And Fallon definitely has some humorous moments just with her daughter. I
Yeah.
loved the daughter in this story, and it was very relatable. I mean, I have 5 children myself, and I've been in those moments that she was in.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I don't know how you do it with 5 children. I think I even say that in the book. How do these women do it, have more than one?
Well, I didn't exactly think, oh yeah, 5 children, that's a great idea, but it just sort of happened. But so let's talk about this friendship breakup. Okay, so what led you to explore this particular theme of a friendship breakup?
So, I read a lot of books, and a lot of them are thrillers or romance or family dramas, but there's not a lot of books that I found that talk about friendships, and not so much in a way where there's friendship breakups. And I wanted to just explore it. I just felt like that there's well, and after I published the book, there's so many readers who came to me and said, "It felt like you were spying on my life. I've been through this exact thing." And I thought, okay, there is a market for this, and it's not something that I've seen that is talked about a lot.
Absolutely. And I love that Fallon was so obsessed with this idea of the 7 year rule with friendships. And when I read that, it really struck me because I completely agree with that. Can you tell everyone her rule of friendship?
So Fallon, the one woman in the book, Beatrice, is coming up on 7 years of friendship with Fallon, and Fallon reads an article that says if you've had your friend for 7 years, it will last a lifetime, and they're more like family now. So this has put the pressure on Fallon to save this relationship because she wants Beatrice to be this lifetime friend.
And the breakup is really traumatic. And so can you tell us a little bit, I mean, how it's different, a friendship breakup versus like a romantic breakup?
You know, I think it can be just as painful because
Mhm.
these a friendship, if it's a really good friendship, you've probably bared your soul to this person. You've talked to this person probably about things you never talked to your partner about. And you just have this bond. And so when your friendship breaks up, it is can be so devastating. And I don't think a lot of people talk about it. They think, oh, I'll just or someone they don't want to say that they broke up and then someone would say, oh, get over it, get another friend. It's not that easy. You've been friends with this person for a long time, and just getting another friend is not going to bring it takes a while then to build up another friendship. And I just feel like a lot of it is just like N it people don't well, if you've never been through it, you don't understand. This is heartbreaking.
Yeah. And the thing about it, it doesn't just affect that one relationship. As with this book, it affects like an entire community of women who have been together.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's the other thing. If you have a circle of friends and then there's a falling out with one of the friends, then it's very awkward or it's hard to continue that circle because either you have to leave somebody out then because 2 of the people aren't talking.
Yeah. And I love that she was so desperate to try to make things right early on in the book. And she throws, as you said, this Mexican fiesta party that just goes off the rails. How did you come up with that? Because a lot of things happen at that party.
I knew it had to be comical. It had to be, devastating as well. It had to be something that just was like a big blow up. I don't know, I just felt like the book needed something to blow up.
And it did. I actually kind of laughed through it, and I felt bad, but it
Yeah.
was humorous at the same time. You felt bad, but you couldn't help but laugh at the
Yes.
absurdity.
Well, good, I'm glad you got that because that's what I was going for.
And the thing about Beatrice, though, but you also made Beatrice very real. She's not just one dimensional, in this story. Can you tell me a little bit how you created her?
Oh, well, yeah, I wanted the reader to understand where their friendship came from, how it started, and why it was so important to Fallon. And I did show Beatrice as the type of friend anybody would want to have in their life in the beginning. And yeah, I just think it was important to show the relationship between Fallon and Beatrice, and why Fallon would be upset if they weren't friends anymore.
Yeah, well, we're getting tons of comments, so I am just going to read a
Okay.
couple. A Facebook user said, "Momcom hits an entire new set of readers." I agree, because this is,
Yes.
I think, my second what you would consider momcom this year. I read "Welcome to the Neighborhood" by Lisa Rowe. Another one says, "Momcoms are so relatable, as is Annie's book." And then we have another Facebook reader who says, I also write about friendships breaking our hearts. I think our friends mean so much to us." And I agree. I agree with that 100%.
Yes. Yes, I agree too.
Because when I was reading your book, I kept thinking of a song I learned at camp when I was, probably 8 years old. And it's "Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other's gold."
Oh, I love that. Yes, I love that. It doesn't mean that you can't always have new friends, but to always treasure the ones that you've had for a long time.
But Fallon also does have some outside friends
Yeah.
other than this group. Can you talk a little bit about those supporting characters? Because
Yeah.
they give her sometimes a good, kick in the right direction when she's kind of going off the rails.
Yeah, so she has Avery, who is her college friend, and they've been together, or they've been friends for years. And she, they just love each other so much. They've been through so much, and college is a great time to meet friends. It's the first time you're really on your own. And then Mel was in the neighborhood. So Fallon's friends are the mom friends in her neighborhood, and Mel lived in the neighborhood and moved to New York. And Mel had not a falling out, but her and the moms never got along. And she supports Fallon, but she doesn't really think Fallon should be friends with this group. Man, she provides a lot of comedic relief. Oh my gosh, I love Mel the best. She's my favorite character.
I think she was my favorite character. I mean, I love Fallon, don't get me wrong,
Yeah,
but I definitely gravitated towards her, and I looked forward when she would pop up, because she pops up several times in the book.
yeah, yes. And she's always saying something funny, or like she doesn't have a filter, so that's why I like her, because I'm not like that in real life, but I enjoy people who are.
And how freeing is that as a writer, that you can write, you created her, so you obviously have these thoughts in your mind. How freeing is that to write a character like that?
It is. It's freeing, because you're like, I would never be this type of person in real life. So I'm going to make this character this way, and just totally different from me. And it is. It's like unleashing could be another side of me that I don't ever let out, or it could just be like this whole new character that just is so funny.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. So let's talk about Fallon as trying to start like her own business.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of women, if as mothers, if you're a mother, that you sometimes struggle with, you have children, their needs come first, but sometimes as a human, you want something for yourself.
Yes, yes. And I totally agree with this. And I struggled with this too. I when I had my daughter, I had a marketing business, and I let go a lot of clients so that I could well, I kept a few, but because I wanted to be there for my daughter and raise her. But there is like a balance. It's really tough, and we get pulled in so many different directions. So Fallon is feeling this too, where she wants to be something to everyone, and it's really tough. She wants to be a good friend, she wants to be a good wife, she wants to be a good mother, and she wants to be a businesswoman too. So she is feeling this pull, but she realizes that it was important for her to do something that brings her joy, and in the process, what brings her joy is also bringing joy to others.
And I love how you write about chocolate. Did you have to do a lot of research, or is this like, I know in your bio you say you love chocolate,
Yeah.
but did you have to do a lot of research into this?
So we have two chocolate shops in the area I live in. One is called All Chocolate Kitchen, and the owner of it, he's a chocolatier. He's a famous chocolate chef. His name is Chef Roby, and he creates these amazing chocolate sculptures, like
Oh,
huge, like of astronauts, of dinosaurs, all made of chocolate. And so I love going to that shop. So I probably should have done more like on-site research and actually maybe interviewed him or watched him, but just being in the setting and setting up my laptop in the shop and writing was enough. But I googled a lot of like how to make chocolate. What does it smell? I know what it smells like, but sometimes it helps to have a little
yeah.
bit of research. And then there's another chocolate shop. It's family owned. It's called Graham's, and their chocolate is so delightful. And I go in there, I don't know, maybe once a month. I try to stay away because I don't want to be eating all chocolate all the time. But their shop is what inspired actually. I don't want to ruin it, but something about what Fallon ends up with their shop was the inspiration.
And some of her, because you describe a couple of her chocolates, and my mouth was watering. I would have never thought that, some of the combinations that she does. It was I was very hungry when I was reading some of those scenes. So let's talk a little bit more about the book, but let's talk about the cover, because one of the things before you even agreed to be on, yes, your cover, I love it. Before you agreed to be on Author Take the Wheel, I had stumbled across that cover and it really caught my eye. How much did you have input with your publisher on what was going to go on it?
So when I first signed with my publisher, they sent me a questionnaire and asked me which book covers I loved, like in color combinations, and what things I would like to see on the cover, what I would like it to look like. And so my take was I liked that the women were walking away from each other. That was one of my ideas. However, they came up with, or the actual artist came up with, the friends walking away from each other with the word. And I thought that was amazing, incredible. I hadn't thought of that. And I really think that's what makes the cover so good. I love it.
I love the colors too.
Yeah,
It
yeah, I
definitely
actually love the
catches,
colors. Yeah,
yeah.
I like the I just love it. I love the yellow, the pink, the blue.
Mhm.
Yeah, they really look good together.
Well,
Yeah.
it's incredible. So the thing I love about Bookish Road Trip, we're going to switch gears just a little bit. And we're going to come back to your book. We have a lot of obviously readers, and we have authors, but we also have inspiring writers, people who are contemplating writing that first sentence, that first paragraph. What made you to become a writer? You said you've always dreamed of it. When did you actually make that first step?
Yeah, so I always wanted to be a writer, but I never knew what I wanted to write about. Like I felt like all through my 20s and 30s, I was like, oh gosh, I want to write something, but it's got to be profound. Like that was my thing. So that really held me back. Like I'm trying to think of this profound thing. But then my daughter went to kindergarten and I had more time on my hands and I thought, okay, now it's time for me to sit down and write a book. And then this actually ended up being my fourth book. But I want to tell people that don't wait. Don't wait till you have something profound. Just sit down and write, and whatever comes to you, just write. But I'm glad it just came at the right time for me, this book and what I wanted to say. And it was something I believed in. So I do think as a writer, you need to believe in what you're writing. And you have to believe that you have to love the story, because if you love it, somebody else will too.
Oh, I love that. So, how long did it take you to write the first draft?
So it took 4 months to write the first draft, and I was a total pantster. Like I didn't have an outline or anything. I just sat down and wrote it. Well, it really was like a first draft by the time I got an agent, and I had right before she signed with me, my agent asked if I would consider hiring an editor because it needed some things. So I did. I hired an editor and I found one that worked in my budget, and she helped me with pacing and to get it in shape. And then I sent back to my agent, and my agent said yes. But then my agent was also an editor. So she edited it with me on top of what I had sent her. So it went through two editors, and then I had an editor at the publisher, so it went through that too. So it was really three edits.
So you said this was your fourth book.
Yeah.
So where are books 1, 2, and 3? Are you gonna revisit them, or are you just gonna kind of leave them in the
I don't
past?
know. I mean, that's a good question. A lot of people ask me that. I don't I look at them as learning experiences and stepping stones. I learned a lot writing them. I honed my skill, and I learned how to query agents, and but I really don't think I'm going to resurrect them. I think it's time to move on. I told this story. I've shared it with some family and friends, and they've gotten enjoyment out of it. But I don't know. Right now I say no. I'm just gonna keep moving forward.
Yeah. So let's talk about what's on the horizon for you. What about what's book 2? Tell us a little bit about that, and if you have plans for other books.
Yeah. So book two is women fiction as well. It has a mother-daughter relationship. It's lighthearted, but it's not. I don't think it's a mom com. There is some comedy in it, but it's not meant to be a mom com. It's about a woman who gets passed over for a job, and she decides that she needs to figure out her life, so her and her daughter take a trip to Africa.
Oh,
Yeah, and oh, actually, Africa's in your book too.
it
I just
is.
thought of that when I was reading it. So
Yeah.
um yeah, so it's like their journey in Africa and who they meet and what they learn from their trip, and then they come back, and can't spoil what happens, but so it's a journey of discovering yourself. And then I'm on my third book, but I'm trying to remember. It's women's fiction as well, but and it doesn't have a mother-daughter. Right now it doesn't have a mother-daughter relationship, but it's in the early stages, and it's just a brief outline at this point.
Okay. So if you could give a writer, because you keep talking about women's fiction, and I know you're part of the WFWA,
Yeah.
if you could give some writers some pointers, like what organization should they look at? Are there any books that you think could help someone hone their craft?
Wow, that's a good question. Donald Moss has several books out on how to like outline and how to, create great characters. I love his books. I also love Save the Cat. That is really good for
Mhm.
different beats. And organizations, I just love Women's Fiction Writers Association. I also belong to the Authors Guild,
Okay.
and I love them because they have legal services. So when I got my publisher contract, I had them, Author Guild, look at the contract and tell me what I needed to negotiate. And they have so many different resources. They have so many webinars. They have marketing webinars. They have different things. So I would definitely check out Authors Guild as well.
Well, that I actually think I'm going to check that one out because I am not a member of that one. Okay, we're still getting a lot of comments here. One of our Facebook users said, "You are so positive, Annie. Thank you." And she has a little heart. Another one says, "This sounds like a great concept. Have you ever been to Africa?"
I have. I have. I actually took a 30-day sabbatical to Africa in my early 30s. And I was single at the time, and I was going through a rough patch with my own job. And I just didn't know what I was going to do. So luckily I had, I could take a 30-day sabbatical from my job. So I did. And I did it the most affordable way possible. I went camping there with a
Oh,
tour group. So we had to put up our tents, and yeah, it was just an amazing experience. Met some wonderful people from international different countries, and the the scenery is gorgeous, the animals. And yeah, so I knew that I wanted to write a book about it's not anything about my trip because gosh, it was so long ago I can't remember everything, but I definitely wanted to write about Africa.
Well, I love that. And then we have another Facebook user who said, busy gal. I completely agree with busy gal. So we're getting ready to wrap this up here in a few minutes. And what message do you want your readers to take away from your book?
I want readers to feel like they're not alone if they're going through friendship issues. And sometimes it's okay to let go. I know it's hard, but to look at your friendships and put them in different categories, like for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And not all friendships are meant to last a lifetime. And yes, it's heartbreaking, but through my own experience, I've learned just to look back and to cherish the memories I've had with the individual if I can't make it work going forward.
I love that. That's good advice for people at every age, because you make friends when you're a child, but you also make friendships more in your adulthood. So I love that.
Yes.
And then we have another Facebook user who says, that's cool that you went to Africa. I have been to South Africa twice. Yes, the scenery, animals, fruit, and certain customs, etc., are great.
Yes, I loved South Africa. Cape Town is gorgeous. Have you been, Hope? Have you been?
No, I have never been. I really have not gotten to travel a lot. And now that I'm an empty nester, those are some things that I'm going to get to do in the next few years. Hopefully.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
So we're getting ready, like I said, we're getting ready to wrap it up. And I know people are going to want to stay in touch with you. And could you share, first off, your website is probably one of the nicest websites I think I have ever been on. So please share with our audience your website address.
It's anniecathryn.com, and the last name is Cathryn. So yeah, I would love if you checked it out and stay in touch. Drop me a line. I love hearing from readers.
And you have so much information on your website. It's not just, this is my book. You've got a lot of other things. Can you give just a little peek into what your website is for those who haven't been to it yet?
Sure. So I'm also a bookstagrammer. So I read and review books. I just love reading. So you'll find I have a blog out there that talks about, I do it once a month. I feature an author interview. So you'll find those. And then I have a podcast called Soulful Series. And if you like memoirs or nonfiction motivational books, I've interviewed, I think there's 40 out there, 40 authors. So you can either watch those or listen because they're on video or audio.
Well, and I can't thank you enough for being here, but you still have 2 full days with us. So you're not going away just yet. We want to, if I could, I'd keep you here for, the next month. And because I love your posts. They've been so engaging and they kind of make me think of my friendships.
Yes. Well, I'm glad. And I'm so happy to be here. I love connecting with everybody on the Facebook page. It's so funny to connect with the different stories that they have, I love it. It's been a great experience.
And my very first friend today commented on my post because she was with me. You asked, remember that time we got into or something. And I said, we broke down in Dothan, Alabama. And I was like, I've known her for 47 years. And so it was fun to see her comment on that. So also tell everybody about Instagram, because you've got an incredible Instagram following and you've got a great page. Could you tell them where they can find you there?
Yes, I'm at Ms. Annie Cathryn on Instagram, and I love connecting. So follow me there and you'll see what I'm reading and what I'm up to.
And I love that you review books, because something I didn't realize until I was actually an author, how important reviews are. Every single review counts.
It does. It does. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can't stress that enough. And yeah, I'm almost done with your book and I cannot wait to review it. So watch for that.
Well, I so appreciate it. So I'm going to wrap this up. Next month is an off month. We do not have an author take the wheel in September, but we will be back in October. And so we are going to be joined by Nola Nash, and her book is called House of Mirrors, and it's going to be on October the 12th. And it's going to be perfect for the month of October because it's got a little paranormal activity in it, a little historical fiction. And the great thing is, Nola and I got to meet because we live 2 miles from each other and had never met before. But it's going to be a very fun author take the wheel. But Annie, again, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I love talking to you.
I love talking to you. So I think we might have a friendship coming up here.
I
So
think
yeah.
so.
Well, everyone, until next time.
Bye.